So, a very common insomnia related issue is sleep maintenance insomnia, where people don't have too much of a hard time falling asleep. Their appetite for sleep is high, but then when they wake up in the middle of the night, they have a hard time falling back asleep. So, today I'm going to talk about some of the strategies that can be helpful to make the environment more optimized or conducive to be able to give you the best chance to fall back asleep. Hi, my name is Dr. Parky. I'm a clinical psychologist and behavioral sleep medicine specialist, and I've treated hundreds of patients with insomnia using non-pharmacological, no medication, evidence-based treatments, especially inclusion of cognitive behavioral therapy elements in the treatment of insomnia. So I want to start with a disclaimer that I'm not a miracle worker and there's no one single solution that I can just snap my finger and say, now you're going to fall back asleep 100% of the time. Anybody promising you that is probably full of it because sleep is fundamentally an effortless process. And putting effort into what is effortless usually only results in more negative consequences. But what I can help with is to put us in the right position, in the right situation and conditions to really make sure that we have the highest probability for the sleep to come take us away. So when it comes to falling asleep and staying asleep, the reason why maintenance of insomnia is a bit trickier is because in the beginning of the night, we are super hungry for sleep. We're awake and active throughout the entire day. We might be, having engaged in some sort of wind down period. So our arousal levels are low. We're ready for bed and we are able to fall asleep pretty quickly. But let's say a few hours later, at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., all of a sudden we've already slept for 3 or 4 hours. So we've used up a lot of the sort of hunger for sleep, otherwise known as sleep pressure, such that when we wake up at 1 or 2, we don't have the same amount of pressure for sleep that would necessarily always carry us through. So this becomes, of course, a bit more tricky. So it's harder for us to fall asleep, or at least feel like we got the super deep consolidated sleep, especially in the second half of the night, which is a good thing. And for one, because we've already used up a lot of the sort of sleep need that we have. So a big part of the sort of deep sleep has already been used. Deep sleep usually happens more in the first half of the night. And then certainly we can support the second half a little bit more. So let's talk about how we can set the stage to help us fall asleep a little bit more quickly. Number one is to make sure that we're not casting a wide net because of the poor second half of sleep. So, let's say you usually go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6, you sleep until 2, and then from 2 to 4 you had you were just feeling either fully awake or it was kind of like tossy-turny sleep. And then as a result, when the alarm rang at 6, you were like, holy crap, like that was kind of a poor night. Like maybe I could just sleep in till 6:30, till 7. Maybe I could take a bit of a nap during the day. And again, this makes perfect sense because you just had a poor night. But as you can imagine, this approach of sleeping in, this compensatory behavior is actually going to impact our ability to sleep well the next night. When 10 rolls around, we're going to have less sleep pressure or hunger for sleep, such that we might be perpetuating the issue where, again, we sleep for a few hours because we built up some amount of sleep pressure, but not enough to carry us the entire way through. So one way that can be really helpful to support our ability to fall back asleep, let's say when we go to the bathroom at night, is to build up that extra pressure by still waking up at the same time every night and every morning. Another strategy that can be helpful is to reduce arousal levels in the middle of the night when you have these awakenings. Change the way that we react to these awakenings. So for some people, they wake up and they're like, oh, here we go again. This sucks. This is going to be horrible. I'm going to be awake the entire night. As you can imagine, like those thoughts are not particularly conducive to putting us into the right state of mind for sleep to readily take us away. So some things that you can do, number one, is to take this mantra, the stance of rest is second best. So yeah, like I prefer to be sleeping right now, but you know what? Like I'm just going to lie there and close my eyes and get some regeneration from that practice of taking rest as second best. And it also allows for sleep to be more likely to take us away, right? Because if we're in a relaxed, conducive for sleep state, we're much more readily able to fall asleep compared to if we're like in this frenzied tossing, turning practice. And if you notice that your mind is racing during that period of time, one thing that you can do is to direct your thoughts. You can kind of start thinking about or imagining something that you enjoy, like maybe you're bringing yourself into your safe space, maybe you've built up a nice garden or like a new adventure or a time with friends that you can sort of imagine, something that would allow you to put yourself in a low arousal state. So fundamentally, what we want to make sure is when we wake up, do we still have enough pressure for sleep, so sleep drive, to be able to carry us through? So that means making sure you're not spending too much time in bed. And number two, reduce arousal. What are ways that we can at least put ourselves in a position where sleep is more readily able to take us away? Sleep is going to be able to more readily take us away if we're in a relaxed, calm state versus more of like holy crap, this sucks perspective. So put yourself in the right position that sleep is more readily able to say, hey, I'm here now, let's go. And certainly from a circadian perspective, if you're waking up pretty early in the morning, like at 4 or 5, where the sun might start creeping in, one thing that could be helpful to make sure that your circadian rhythm knows it's still time for you to be sleeping might be to have blackout curtains or wear an eye mask, just something that helps protect your, circadian rhythm from that light exposure that would indicate to it that it's time to wake up because that's not what you want. And that's it. So be mindful about the sleep pressure. Do we have enough gas in the engine to carry us through? Or when we wake up, are we in a sort of conducively low arousal state for sleep to be more readily able to take us away? And are we making sure that there's no particular inputs in our environment to sort of wake our circadian rhythm up? And that will probably put you in the best position to be able to likely get some more sleep, some more deep sleep as you carry yourself through the rest of the night. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.